Hey, good evening. How you guys doing?
Hi, everybody. How are you?
We're back. We're back. Jazz fingers. How long have we been married? We start doing jazz fingers at the same exact time. Jazz hands. Awesome sauce.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Vince.
Hey, Vince.
Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, man. Thanks for
Much
joining
love.
in. We're going to talk about communication tonight.
Oh, you know it.
Maybe we'll get an argument live about communicating. How awesome would that be?
You guys would be in for a treat.
What?
I win every argument. Or none of them.
No. She curls in the corner and cries.
Yeah.
I yell, and then I go curl in the
superpower.
corner and cry after I'm done yelling. I can't believe I did that again.
If I look different this week, it's because I quit sugar.
What?
And that is just about as hard as it sounds.
Wow.
I was incredibly addicted, apparently, because my body hated me for a couple of days while I got that under control.
I not fully quit sugar, but I reduced by massive amounts of sugar in the last 2 days, 3 days. Yeah. I haven't had any nighttime snacks at all.
What about that bowl of ice cream you had last night?
I didn't have a bowl of ice cream last night. The kids ate it all.
I'm pretty sure you
No,
had
remember I
some
came
ice
out?
cream.
No, here comes the argument. Oh my gosh. Right out the gate.
Called your shot.
No, the kids ate it. Remember I came in and said, hey, did you give the kids the ice cream? And you're like, yeah, I told them they could have a little bit. They
There were still
me.
some.
There was none. Like, literally, I put a half a spoon on there and tasted it. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bowl of ice cream, though.
What about the minty ice cream?
There's no ice cream. It's gone.
Zero. The
Zero.
kids ate all the ice cream. All the ice cream.
Yes.
What about banana bread? Did you have some banana bread today?
I did taste the banana bread today. But I didn't have much.
Are you going to have sugar tonight?
I'm not saying I haven't had sugar. I'm saying
Are you
I'm
gonna have
highly
sugar
reduced.
tonight?
There's no sugar in the house, is there?
You have secret stashes
I
everywhere.
have no stashes. So I feel like the camera is kind of weird. Do you feel like that? Like it's...
Maybe your face is weird.
Maybe if I...
Whoa. Everybody just got sick for a second.
Did you guys just get seasick?
Whoa.
Is
Whoa.
that a little better?
It's like a roller coaster.
That's a little better.
You guys didn't know it, but you joined a roller coaster ride. The Swagger train. Woo, woo. We're feeling silly, apparently.
We are feeling silly. So we are on a roll. We've been having a lot of fun doing this. It's been 8 or 9 weeks or something in a row.
I was just thinking about it as we logged on. Probably 3 months that we've been with you guys on Wednesdays. This is our second longest relationship.
After our relationship, this
Our
is our
marriage
second longest.
and this Facebook Live.
So anyway, we're gonna move into. No, not yet. What else were you gonna say?
I don't know.
You said something about.
I was going to say how I got my first sunburn of the season already.
Nice. It looks good on you.
So when you guys watch this video, either live or when you join in after it's already been, whatever, after we post it later. The replay. The instant
You're welcome.
replay. Oh, that's what I was going to ask them. I'm glad that you mentioned you're welcome. I was going to ask you to drop in the comments below, what song gets stuck in your head most often?
Boom.
Because our kids have been listening to the Disney soundtracks and stuff.
Moana.
So we've been hearing a lot of Moana.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And so that is in my head around the clock. Every time.
It's really
anybody
fun
says
when we
you're
ask our
welcome.
kids to do the chores and they complain and we just start singing "You're welcome."
You're welcome.
Lots of fun on that one.
So that's a good. We like that song. So comment below with what you have stuck in your head.
Stuck in my head a lot.
You walk around the house whistling all the time.
I do.
More so than singing.
Yeah, and I don't even know I'm doing it. It's a subconscious thing.
Yeah. Like if I play a song, if I've got like music playing through the house, like 3 to 10 minutes later, Skip will walk around the house whistling that same exact thing.
Don't even know it.
It's just innate. All right. Well, we are going to crush the Newlywed Game. We're going to win.
We played the Newlywed Game last week.
Our second
instead
week.
of doing secret topics, or
Yeah.
surprise topics, I should say.
Yeah.
We did the Newlywed Game, and we got 5 out of 6.
So we are the not so Newlywed Game, but we want you guys to play at home as well. So what you want to do is grab your spouse,
I see Brett is.
Hi, Brett.
This is actually newlywed.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
so
are
this could be a fun,
legitimate player.
Legitimate. We're oldlyweds
Newlywed
playing the
player.
newlywed game, but you can be a newlywed playing the newlywed game.
And I had to kind of, I don't know, find some difficult questions because we know a lot of things about each other already. And so I had to find some newlywed questions that we couldn't just easily know. Like, I don't know, like where we went on our honeymoon and stuff like that. I don't know.
That's an easy one. That's not a hard one. That's an easy one.
Right, that was an easy one. So I found some harder ones.
Oh, you found harder ones.
That's what
I
I'm
thought you were
saying.
saying you found some hard ones, like where'd we go on our honeymoon? I'm like,
No.
that's not hard.
No, like what color is my dress at the
I mean, I
wedding?
know I'm old, but my memory hasn't gone that bad.
No. So here we go. I would suggest you guys play at home. Go ahead and get something to write with. When you watch it on the replay, you can like hit pause and then ask each other.
We'll give you a second to get something to write with.
Time's up. That was 1 second.
Time's up.
That was more than 1 second.
All right.
Okay, so you can, we're going to have some to ask him. And when we ask you, you will write the answer and I'll say it out loud.
Sounds good.
And then we'll have some to ask me. And so husband and wife questions. And we do have the camera reversed or whatever, so it's the answers are going to be backwards when we hold up ours. But
so this might be white or wrong.
Scoreboard.
Because it's backwards.
Oh, not very clear handwriting. But
Right
we did
and
pretty
wrong.
well
This
last
is
week.
last week's score. 5 out of 6.
And now we're going to see where we
Beth
go.
let us down last week.
Week
She
2.
had to step up her game this
I'm
week.
planning to let you
So
down
I'm
this
gonna
week
erase.
as well.
Whoops, I could have left that.
That
I just needed to do that, didn't I?
5-1. Are you going to start fresh scoreboard this week?
Oh, I guess we could have done that.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so, there's one more thing at the beginning of tonight I wanted to do. I wanted to make up like a secret handshake about marriage month.
Nice.
So here's my idea. Like an M, and then you make an M, and we kind of bump M's and go, yeah, let's try.
Second argument of the night. I'm definitely not doing that.
Don't you think that
I am
Skip should
definitely not doing
do
that.
the marriage month
No.
secret handshake? You ready?
When you bring that handshake up, I got a finger in mine, and it ain't 3 of them pointing down. There's no way I'm doing that.
Tick tock. All right, let's move on to the Newlywed Game.
Wow.
Since you can't handle a cool handshake like that.
Do we look shiny tonight? I think I look extra shiny tonight. Am I a little oily? My hair and makeup person failed me tonight.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to have someone come in with a big puffy
Yeah,
thing
on the commercial
blot
break,
you.
they come in and fix my hair, straighten my hat out a little bit.
I bet Daisy would volunteer for that job next week.
All right, who's going first?
I think that we can ask you a question, ask me a question.
Can we go back and forth?
I think so.
All right,
You ready for the first one?
I'm ready.
Okay, so ask your husband, what color did your wife wear on your first date? Okay, so what color did the wife wear? Don't show me your
I hope I
answer.
don't let us down because I don't know this one.
Oh, you're letting us down then if you don't know this one. Come on.
Oh, I think I might know.
I have no idea what you wore, but
What if
was I
it's
supposed to spill those
What if it's
beans?
multicolored?
Then you failed the question. Well, then you would put multicolored. Okay. So write down your answers. What did your spouse wear? What color was your spouse wearing on your first date? It's supposed to stick in your brain, apparently.
I wasn't looking at the clothes. I was looking at that delicious meal.
Kyle says, what's the color of a switchblade, Skip?
Go ahead.
Quit cracking those Puerto Rican jokes there,
I'm done
Kyle.
writing.
Okay, so I wore a mustard-colored shirt, and it had a white undershirt and a denim jean skirt.
Nailed it.
Gold vest, white shirt, and jean skirt.
Boom. Tally went up for Skip
You remembered it.
at the last second. You know how I remembered that? Because I remembered I bought that for you for your birthday.
Yeah, Skip actually took me shopping, and I got to pick out an outfit or whatever.
Yep.
This is the 90s.
I almost forgot that. Thank you
So it was
for the pressure.
corduroy. It was my shirt was corduroy.
Yeah, not a mess. It's a corduroy shirt, but I got the color right.
Yeah, it was like
Yellow
collared and I think I got it from Wet Seal or something, one of those 90s stores.
Fun stuff.
Okay, you ready? So now you're going to ask your wife a question.
Ask my wife, what is the first thing your spouse would buy if they won the lottery? What would Beth buy if she won the lottery?
Wait a minute. I'm guessing what you would buy if you won the lottery.
What I would buy if I won the lottery.
So you're asking me, what's the first thing that my spouse would buy?
Skip would buy if he won the lottery.
So if your husband wins the lottery, women, you're trying to guess what he's going to say that he would buy.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
I know my answer.
Okay.
Don't let us down this week. This is seriously the first thing I would buy if I won.
Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure I'm going to let you down. Okay. So, okay, Skip. What is the first thing that you would buy if you won the lottery?
1977 Trans Am, baby.
That was like on the bubble with, I forgot. I thought that you would buy a new truck.
Oh, come on.
Because you keep talking about that truck, so you really want the Trans Am more, huh?
That would be the Trans Am. The truck is so ordinary.
Got it
I wouldn't
wrong.
even need a truck if I won the lottery because I would never have to work again.
Well, you like that truck for funsies.
Yeah, I would probably end up buying a truck just to drive around town, but the Trans Am would have come first. 77 Trans Am was my first car. For those of you who don't know, it was an awesome 6.6 liter 403 engine.
You just
White
said a bunch of words.
with a
I have
gold
no idea.
Firebird on the hood. Dude, it was awesome.
It was not awesome.
She says
It
that
keeps
now.
threatening to say,
She loves
I'm
it
gonna
when I
get
picked
such
her
a,
up for first
I'm gonna
dates
get
in
a
it.
loud car when when I can get a car for fun. I'm gonna get one of these loud race cars.
I don't say
said,
loud. I just say,
I'm not gonna drive with you.
yeah.
I don't like loud.
Our kids said they would drive with me.
You'll have rock and roll music
I
blaring.
want people's windows to rattle when I drive down the street in my Trans Am.
All right, next topic.
Right.
Did we hit? Okay, we got that wrong, so you have to put that down.
Wrong, Beth.
So, are you guys getting more right than we are? I hope so. Okay.
Truck wasn't even second.
What's second?
I was debating about a house or a Trans Am, but I figured we could take our time in the house. We want our dream house. So the first thing I'd buy would be the Trans Am, and you went with truck. It was like 5th or 8th down the list or something.
I didn't hear present for your wife anywhere in there either.
Sure did.
Okay, let's see. Kyle says, like, Skip needs to be louder. I think Brett and Rosalind are doing pretty well in the guessings, too. So I think they're kicking our butts. All right, next question. Ask your husband, what is the honeymoon destination that your spouse would most likely choose for a second honeymoon? So the husband is answering what he thinks his wife would want.
God, I might let us down again.
Where does she want to go for a second honeymoon?
I can't.
So don't show me your answer.
Where does Beth want to go? What?
What?
What are you whispering?
I don't know.
I don't even know if I'm spelling this right. Spelling doesn't count.
Spelling doesn't count.
All right.
Well, that was fast. You like wrote like one letter. Hold on a minute. I need to come up with an answer. Obviously, it's not something that we talk about very often. Okay, let me think. The honeymoon destination your spouse would most likely choose for a second honeymoon.
But you, not your spouse. But you, where would
Okay,
you?
Where would I want to go on a second honeymoon?
Where do you think that? I know I spelled this wrong. Sorry, people, I spelled it wrong. But it's gonna be backwards for you guys anyway. So
I'm gonna say
you don't even know.
no. I'm
How
gonna
am I
say
supposed to guess if you don't know?
right, exactly. We're gonna get
Welcome
this
to my
wrong.
world.
We're getting this wrong for sure. Okay, second honeymoon. There's so many choices.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going Greece.
Come on.
I was thinking about Hawaii. I was thinking about
I
Ireland.
said Tahiti.
Tahiti? Oh yes.
Where was it that
French Polynesia
French
and
Polynesia?
stuff,
Is that where Lauren went?
I think so. I don't know. There's
That's what I
lots of
was
places
thinking
I
of,
haven't
but I
been and I want to go
couldn't.
to. So you can comment in below.
Wah, wah,
Where do you want to go for your second honeymoon?
We were set up for failure on that one. Beth didn't even know the answer. How in the world am I supposed to figure it out?
I obviously need to dream more, dream big, because I haven't even thought about a second honeymoon. But we're coming up close to a biggie. What did we say? We're going to go someplace for our 20th anniversary.
Ireland.
Oh, well, that's 19. We'll be married 19 when we go there. I don't know.
Yeah, going on 20 though.
Okay, now ask your husband this question. How many cousins does she have? Okay, so we're going to guess. Both of us come from big families, so this is kind of hard to do. Okay, so what's your guess? How many cousins do I have?
Did you write one down already?
Yeah.
Do you know exactly?
I didn't stop and count, no. I'm just guesstimating, so.
36.
Whoa. I guess 25. So we are way off.
We got nine aunts and uncles on your shield side.
Right.
Average of 3, that's 27. Then you got the whole.
Are you trying to use
Spanish
logic on
side.
me?
Yeah, I'm trying to use math. Yeah.
Your math and logic means nothing to me.
25 is way low.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll count them up tomorrow. We'll give the final tally next time.
All right.
Another one wrong.
We are bombing this
Oh,
week.
Biting the dust.
How you guys
Rosalind
doing?
says she's Hispanic. It's impossible to answer
Exactly.
this question. Basically, yes. We can't count that high. How many would you guess? Okay, just off the top of your head, if I was going to guess how many cousins you have, I would say
14.
18.
Oh, wait. I'm off. You're closer to being right.
We can't get into this, right?
Wait, I have.
No, don't. You can't get to count. Okay, you ready?
10, 12, 13, 14.
Okay, next
17.
question. Ooh. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Did
Yeah.
I just write?
Yeah, you just wrote cousins.
Oh, I think we did 2 in a row for you. Sorry
no,
about
we
that.
didn't. We skipped off.
Yeah, we did those 2, right?
Yeah. No, you
Okay.
did too.
Doesn't matter. So ask your wife.
Third argument.
Good thing we're talking about communication tonight because we need some.
Yeah, we do.
Please, God, help us. Okay, so you're asking me, and I have to write it down.
No.
Oh,
you
I
just
don't know.
wrote.
Is the car rear, front, or all-wheel drive? So your wife has to answer, and you're trying to match answers.
Okay.
Whoever has the marker board. Is the car rear, front, or all-wheel drive? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
You wrote pretty quickly there. So I'm going to guess that our car is all-wheel drive.
That's the longest word in that thing. You said you wrote pretty
Rear,
quick.
front, all.
Okay. Rear.
I did think about it being rear, but then I thought, no, it can be all.
You're killing us tonight.
Oh my gosh. I'm not
One
doing
more
very well.
question.
Can minivans be all-wheel drive?
What percentage of the housework would Skip says that he does?
Okay, so ask your wife, what percentage of the housework would your husband say that he does?
Hold on. It's
He's deciding if he's going to be funny or accurate,
No, I'm gonna
or
be
if he's
accurate.
going to try to guess answers.
I just need to know, is cooking housework or is that not housework?
That is going to factor into your decision for sure.
You're not even going to tell me.
No.
All right.
There's no leading the witness here.
Done. I know what my number is.
Okay.
How much I do.
How much
What percent
would
do
you
I do?
say that you do?
What does that say?
It's not necessarily going to be
I'm
the
in.
truth.
I'm ready.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to say 65%.
Man, of course you were.
Ah.
50%.
I almost went 50 because I thought we'd be like the good couple that does 50-50, but I know I do way more housework.
Wait a minute. Now that you mention it, did you just say that you do more housework than I do?
Way more. I was saying 65 because I didn't think you'd guess 75. I do so much housework around this place.
Oh my gosh, I hope you guys got that one. Drop it in the comments
And I
below.
even factor cooking as housework. And it's still...
So, what do you think I do all
Now,
day?
if you're talking about homeschooling our kids as housework, that will skew the numbers in your favor a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about actual cleaning.
We might get close to
Cooking.
50-50 with homeschool mixed in.
You are unbelievable.
My goodness.
Oh, my mom
Oh.
says 30. The magic number is 30. I think.
Beth only does 30%?
Do you only do 30% of the house?
I do more than 30.
I don't know. I'm going to tabulate it this week. How often have you heard the word tabulate?
Tabulate. I do all the boy jobs. Beth has told me what all the boy jobs are.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be all of them. Every job's a boy job.
Speaking of boy jobs and girl jobs, a very funny thing happened today. Our friend, Sarah, she told all of us in a little private message thing or whatever, she said, oh my gosh, there's a huge roach at work. What am I going to do? And so we were all making jokes about it, but our friend Vince actually went and saved the day and got the roach out of there. Boy job.
And if you're in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Vince has his own
JV
exterminating
bugs.
JV bugs.
Call JV Bugs. He makes house calls to your work.
He's not a sponsor yet, but we'll expect a check in the mail, Vince.
He pays me in bucks. He already
JV
got
Bugs and Vince is now a sponsor of this Facebook Live video.
Surprise!
Well, he'll have the banner up here next week. Oh my goodness.
He already signed off. He watched only the first couple minutes, so he has no idea
Vince,
that he owes
Vince
us
is
millions
gone.
of dollars
Vince only
now.
watched the first 5 minutes of the video. Millions of dollars he owes us now. Okay.
Vince messaged me today.
Is that it?
He
Do
ordered
we have one
some
more
books.
question? Or that was it? We got another one wrong.
Yeah,
so,
5 wrong
5
and
wrong,
1 right.
1 right. So how'd you guys do on your Newlywed Game? Anybody want to put brave enough to put your score up?
My mom says I have 30 cousins,
30 cousins.
so that was good.
Is that accurate?
I don't know. We'll count it up this week. We'll tabulate.
On both sides?
We're going to tabulate the numbers. We're going to put it in a machine. It's going to go beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, 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 boop.
So I was closer. What did you guess? 25? And I said, what, 36? So no, you were closer.
Did you say 45?
No, I said 36.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We both were way off.
Way off.
We do not speak the same
I was just doing
language.
quick math. I couldn't try to count everybody, obviously. So. Anyway.
So this is a good intro. Oh,
5
Brett
out of
and
6.
Rosalind
Good
got
job,
5
Brett.
out of 6.
Yeah.
See, you adorable little newlyweds.
So newlyweds.
Quit trying to show us up, Brett and Rosalind.
Yeah, really. Us oldie
Why
weds.
don't you lose like
Us
the oldie weds?
have bad memories.
In 18 years,
I
you're gonna
remember
lose.
40 years ago. Okay.
All right. Well,
So,
because we don't think the same on everything is exactly why we've had to work on communication.
nice segue. I like that. So we have, for almost, what are we, 19 years married? No, 18 going on 19.
Yeah.
We're in our 19th year.
We've been together like Rama-lama-lama, a ding-a-da-ding-a-da-dong.
So yeah, so we've been working on communication for some time now, 20-something years if you count dating. I mean, I guess you communicate when you're dating, right?
It's probably best.
Communication is a little easier in the dating process when you're so in love and you're wearing rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
We were dating for 2.5 years before we got in our first argument.
Right. I don't know. I think that the
It was 'cause
in-love
I drove
experience
her car into the water and killed it.
lasts for 2 years. You had to bring that up.
I had to bring that up. I hope Mom's not still listening.
She probably is. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
So, I don't know. I don't know that we've effectively communicated. Like, we kind of kept it light and talked about the things that we, perfectly matched up with and got along with, which is a lot. And we joked around together a lot. We were best friends.
Yeah.
And so that...
We're best friends?
We are BFF.
Thanks.
Can we do a marriage month handshake, a secret handshake? Ding. Okay.
Wow.
Skip doesn't like the marriage month secret handshake.
No.
So I think that it was kind of a rude awakening when, we have this happy, we're dating and everything's perfect. And then we get married and we're like, what? We have to share finances? Ugh. Things like that. No, you do the dishes. No, you do the dishes. I think that we had some of those.
Yeah, we did have a little bit of that.
We were also young. And I think that we defaulted to the ways that we, grew up. And so, our kind of default was what we had seen our family do or how we had interacted with our brothers and sisters. And so we really, kind of fumbled along for a lot of years. And then I think, about 7-10 years ago, we were like, oh, well, let's make this better on purpose. And so we actually focused on communication. So about the time that we had to learn to communicate with our kids, we learned to communicate with each other.
I think the hardest part in the front end of being married is uncommunicated, unmet expectations. So that's why communication is so important. I think the majority of our arguments or spats in the front end of our marriage, first couple years maybe, were uncommunicated expectations, and therefore they were unmet expectations because they weren't known. And I would have done that to Beth, and Beth would have also done that back to me, and we didn't even know it. We were just like.
Do you think that you did that to me? I think that I do that a lot, probably.
Yeah,
more
no, I
often
think
than
a lot
you.
of the fights, like I think in the front end when we were first married, we were in the apartment and everything, I think there was, on my end, there were some expectations of, the way the house should be
boy
taken
jobs
care
and
of.
girl
Yeah,
jobs.
some of that stuff, and I didn't communicate like, hey, you do this, I'll do that, or hey, let's work on this together. I just would have expected it, even though I didn't communicate it, and then I would have been upset when it wasn't done. In the beginning.
Yeah, because it's really easy to default into, like, okay, I grew up this way, so then everybody grows up this way, and this is how things are done. And then, like, you get married, and you're like, oh, wait, that's not the way that you do it, or that's not the way you think? Weird.
And then, not only that, but, like, then I would micromanage, too, so that was bad. Like, I told Beth she was folding our towels wrong. She'd do laundry, and then fold our towels. I told you're folding the towels wrong, and I was insistent about it.
You're lucky they got folded at all.
I am lucky they got folded. That was the fight before I did. But for me, it was a geometry thing on the towels, by the way. They fit better if they were folded a certain way.
Who cares? That's what it is for me.
Right. Beth folded away where they didn't fit, and you pull one towel out of this, like, packed down bunch, and they all came flying out like a spring.
Whatever.
They're
folded.
They're folded. They're not in the basket. So I think that was a big part, is uncommunicated, unmet expectations.
Yeah, and Skip is kind of a stronger personality, and I'm a more gentle personality, and so it was a big deal. I don't like confrontation, especially like, with someone who's gonna drop the hammer or whatever, and so I just tried to avoid communication and confrontation as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't speak up, it's kind of mousy. I'm not mousy in a lot of ways, but when it comes to like saying something that I think or mean or whatever, if it's important to me, sometimes I'm a little more reticent to bring it up.
And like I wouldn't say that I lean confrontational, but I don't mind confrontation at all. Like, it's not like I look for it, but like when the issues arise, like I feel like you go at it, fast and furious. I want to. My family grew up that way. We could say we're Irish, so we're all going to yell and scream at each other for 35, 45 minutes, and then we're all going to, sit down and eat and laugh about what just happened, kind of thing,
So he doesn't have a problem bringing stuff up. So then that was another thing that we had to think about.
Yeah. And then, when, even in the communication process, when we started working on it, like, for me to bring something up, it was hard for me to do it in a way that was soft and gentle, and then she would naturally take offense, because of the way that I was taking. So both those things were wrong. Like, I wasn't coming in a loving and gentle way, and she was automatically getting offended. And it caused that. So
we share all of this so that you can find some point of relation. Like, think about what's going on when you communicate with your spouse. And some of the hang-ups, like if you have a constant thing that you're fighting about, something that whenever you broach a certain topic, like it always evolves into a fight or something like that, then there's probably some kind of communication hang-up. That's what we're talking about tonight is, okay, well, what can we do? How can we meet each other in a way so that we can actually understand each other? And so your goal is to be understood. Wait, let me see. Your goal is not to win the argument or to prove how right you are, but your goal is definitely connection.
The goal is always connection.
And to understand what each other's trying to say, even if, like, you don't think the same
Yeah.
way. So that was a lot of our issue. Like, we don't think the same way, and I'm the oldest child. I'm a strong personality. He's the oldest child. He's the strong personality. And so neither of us wanted to back down if we think that we're right. However, in the sake of love and harmony and communication, it's pretty important for us to try to figure that out. So we have really focused on communicating and how to improve the way that we understand each other and stuff. And so we wanted to bring some of those ideas with you guys as well.
Yeah.
See, good communication right there. So one of the things we wanted to bring up is that you each are seeing the world through different lenses. And so one thing that we have noticed, like we've even learned how to communicate with our body language, like when he sighs, like he'll just be working or something and go, it means something different than when I sigh. And so I'll look at him, when I sigh, it's because I'm upset or
Stressed.
I'm trying to, clear my mind from being upset. And for him, what does your sigh mean?
It's like a reset. It's like going from one thought to the next. I take a breath and reset. I'm like, all right, off to the next task. It's like,
so he sighs and I go, what's the matter?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
and I'm always like, nothing. Well, why do you ask?
He's like,
you just
there
sighed.
wasn't anything wrong until you started asking me what's wrong.
I go, I didn't sigh. I took a breath.
I'm just breathing over here. You're reading things into it. So you can comment below if you're reading something into every sigh kind of person like I am.
And that is, body language is part of communication. Like, obviously if she's trying to have a conversation with me about something that she wants to talk about and I'm like this, I got my shoulder to her, that's body language. It's going to show her I'm closing myself off, I'm crossing my arms, I'm not engaged in what she's saying. Or if she's trying to have a serious conversation about one of our kids and something that they're going through, being bullied or something like that, and I'm over here on my phone, then my body language is showing, and I'm that I'm really not into it. So there is body language. Body language does count, but we also have to understand some of the idiosyncrasies of each other's body language. Obviously the shoulder turn and on the phone are all closed off. But things like the way you breathe, the way you sigh, or the way that you do things like that,
The way you breathe.
Yeah.
The way you breathe bugs me.
But there is, and there's like sometimes when she'll say something, I'll kind of ponder, like I'm thinking through several scenarios in my head, and she'll be like, what? And I'm like, oh, I'm just processing it, like trying to figure out the best angle here. So for her to understand that, like, I'm not like just, angry and I'm facing...
Right. So I'm an internal processor and he's an external processor. So when I see like he's thinking and stuff, I'm thinking that there's something wrong because, whatever. So what we have started to try to do, which I'm still working on definitely, is to try to assume the best. So try to talk to each other. Like we had to get to the point where I would see him sigh and I would go, does that mean that you're upset? Like I had to actually for us to even get to that point, like we had to bring it back and just start talking about things and putting it out there. Like, okay, when you do that, is it because you're upset or whatever? And so that helped us to start to understand each other a little bit better and eliminate some arguments or assumed arguments, like I was just assuming that he was upset, so then I'm upset and I'm thinking, oh, what could he be upset about? So I was doing a whole thing in my head that he was not even participating with. So
yep, communicating in your brain does not work. Like if you're working through like why your spouse is the way they are, why they're doing what they're doing and all this, and you play this scenario over in your head 6 times.
Well, if he says this, then I'm going to say this. And if
Correct.
she does this, then I'm going to do that.
And then none of that's accurate. And then you just work yourself up because your body feels the stress of that as if it's really happening. And it's really not happening. So it's better to communicate. It's better to understand, like, hey, we're married. We're together forever. Our vow said till death do us part. And we're going to figure this thing out. We're going to communicate. We're going to...
Yeah, we definitely had to get to the point where we realized, okay, we're married, we're together forever, and we're not going to make each other miserable that whole time. And so we had to choose to want to get along and learn how to communicate with each other. So as we learned how to communicate, like we would read things that would say like, you know, talk about your feelings or whatever with each other. And so like we had to learn to go, you know, we stopped going, well, you're a jerk. And then we had to learn to stop going, I feel like you're a jerk. You know?
We read something that said, just talk about how I feel scared when you drive crazy like that, right? So we read the book by Danny Silk.
Yeah, the book called Keep Your Love On.
And so we translated that very funnily into instead of saying I feel scared when you drive like that to
we still made accusational statements out of it.
I feel like you're a maniac when you drive like that. Instead of just saying you're a maniac when you drive like this. So like we went through that.
Right way.
We processed through that whole thing of trying to communicate our feelings.
Because communicating your feelings is a vulnerable thing. Yeah. And so if you're angry and you're upset, you're holding a grudge and you haven't forgiven something, it's going to be really hard to get to the point where you're willing to be vulnerable and actually say what you're thinking. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that through this process that we had to learn about is that when I'm upset, I will not want to communicate in a vulnerable way, and I will cry or stop talking or something like that. Skip, on the other hand, is a more, aggressive, confrontational personality in the nicest way. And he would get angry. Like if Skip feels misunderstood, then he would come at it with anger, even if it was, anger against me. If I didn't realize I had even hurt his feelings because I see him just angry and then he's saying dumb stuff when he's angry. And so we finally had to get to the point where he was vulnerable enough to say, I'm being rude right now because you hurt my feelings and I shouldn't be rude, but I just want you to know that hurt my feelings when you acted like that or when you. So then I was able to go, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that I hurt your feelings. So then that opened up some doorways for us to be able to.
Vulnerability also looks like, in a situation, whatever it is, moving across the world or whatever, for me to be able to look at her and say, I'm as scared as you are in this moment. Because that's a really big thing for a man to say, right? So to go into that, and she would be scared and she'd be coming at me and leaning on me, and I'm just as scared as she is on the inside, but on the outside I got to be this man and this father and I have these kids and I've got to make sure everything works and we're about to move across the country, and I would just get stressed and want to, I can't do, and it comes out as anger.
Right.
But it's the same feeling that she's feeling, and she's coming off as reclusive and crying or upset or whatever it looks like, and all of a sudden I'm angry, and instead of me just saying, hey, I'm as scared about this situation as you are, but I know that we can get through it together, and communicating vulnerability in that place and being able to say those things out loud.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that anytime that we are insecure or unsure about something, that we'll try to mask it or put up a wall or something, as you were saying that, it made me think of, that with motherhood, it's the same thing. Like mothers are just supposed to have all the answers or be adept at everything motherly, and so then the daddies are like, what do I feed them? Whatever. And so I'm having to make decisions like, I don't know, I'm just as unprepared or whatever as you are. So same thing with homeschooling or whatever. So whatever your jurisdiction is, there might be some hot topics that are kind of also a big red button where whenever you broach those topics, it's something that's like, and you're really quick to start a fight on that.
Pay attention to that stuff, correct. The stuff that you constantly see being a spot where you feel tension or jerk back and you want to close down or you want to get angry, whatever your emotional choice is, pay attention to why. I think that's a real why. And I remember
he has started to ask himself
several
why
years ago I
he's
started
gotten
doing
good
that.
at
Yeah,
that.
to say, why am I being angry right now? Well, you're being angry because Beth said this. Well, why does that make me angry? Well, because of this. Well, why does that make me? Well, I'm not angry. There I'm insecure. Well, why are you insecure? And then you go back and back and back just by asking myself questions internally, not even to her. And then all of a sudden I realize, well, that's ridiculous. That's not even how Beth is. That's something that's from my childhood, or some goofy thing, And all of a sudden I'm like, well, let me take 10 seconds and reset. And I do one of my sighs, and I get to come back to Beth and say, hey, I was going back into some of my history, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have acted like that, but this is where it came from.
And then he can communicate, when you do that, that hits me the wrong way. So he's trying to deal with it on his end, and I can try to support him by, maybe not doing that thing anymore.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
So, talk to each other. It's hard work to communicate. It's hard work to want to stretch yourself further than you're comfortable with. It's hard work to want to put yourself out there and share your feelings or be vulnerable or show that you don't have all the answers. But it's worth it. I mean, you guys have chosen to be married, and so it's really important that you do the behind the scenes work to make that marriage as good and as strong as possible. And communicating is something that it's a muscle. We're learning that we are practicing these muscles, and we're getting a whole lot better at it. We are eliminating fights even before they get started because we are understanding
really
each other better. And there's a lot more peace in our home, and there's peace internally, like in our brain and in our heart, like things that we weren't sure. I didn't know why he was upset, so then I'm just kind of got this turmoil on the inside or whatever. And so the fact that we've started talking about these things and trying to bring solutions has reduced that amount so much. And so we're able to go, okay, well, oh, you're not upset? Oh, I thought that you were, So we're learning how to assume the best with what each other is thinking, and then communicate if we actually do have a problem with each other.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, that is such an amazing place to be at, to always assume the best. Like, for me to assume the best in Beth and her actions and what she's doing changes your whole outlook on everything. Like, everything in your day changes because all of a sudden I know that Beth is on my team. She has my best interest in mind. She wants the best for me. I want the best for her. And the whole thing changes. Instead of thinking, well, he didn't do that, or she didn't do that, or she's doing this because she's trying to get out of that, and that kind of stuff. It just goes down a rabbit trail that's unnecessary.
Yeah. So before you get married, a lot of times you have to protect yourself and that kind of thing. And then when you get married, you have to think about that you don't have to protect yourself anymore. Like the two have become one, and so you're now this unit, this orb that works together, and you don't have to protect yourself from each other. You're actually connected, and so it's best if you push past and figure out how to love each other better.
Yeah, I think that's really good. That's not even in our notes. That's bonus for all you guys. But that is really good. Like when you're in the dating process, when we were in the dating process, we were moving through stages of giving of ourselves. Like, I give this much, and how's she going to treat it? She gives this much, how am I going to treat it?
Yeah,
and we go back and forth,
safe?
and then all of a sudden we've been dating for a year, how great, everybody's happy, and then 2 years, and then 3 years, and each step along the way, you're giving emotionally more of yourself, and then all of a sudden you realize, wow, I've given a lot of myself over to her, and it's been fun. I think I want to make commitment and be with her forever. And then you go into marriage, and then you've practiced for how many ever years you've dated only giving so much, and then all of a sudden you're married, you're one flesh, you're sharing everything, and then you've got to start all over and be like, wow, I'm going to be completely vulnerable, communicate how I feel, and those kind of things can be very difficult at times, but it is definitely the best way. to have two people that are willing to be vulnerable and communicate.
Yeah, you have to really realize that you're on the same team. That if you are keeping yourself back and hiding, then you're actually doing your family a disservice. You're actually doing your marriage a disservice, because there's parts of you that are the strength. That's what your marriage needs. So we're really different people, and we don't think the same on things, but the way that I think is a strength, the way that he thinks is a strength, so then we come together and it's a superpower. And so that's why that I encourage you to fight hard for unity in your marriage, to actually do what it takes to stay in tandem, to actually stay tethered and stay in step with each other, so that one person's not pulling away and this person's pulling this way, this person's finding a separate interest and this person's over here, and you're not communicating and making sure that you're staying in tandem, because then you're not going to understand each other, and all of a sudden this thing that's supposed to work together and supposed to support each other and to be able to, knock out everything else around it in life is going to not be there. It's not going to be strong. It's going to crumble. So do the work that it takes to stay on the same page as your spouse.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just something, like we definitely have gone through seasons where, he was wrong and I knew he was wrong. And I just had to pray. Like there's sometimes that there's things you're just not going to convince the other person. They're not ready to hear it. They're not in a place, they haven't had something healed, or they just have a hot topic or whatever. And so you're going to have to just be in the background going, God, you're going to have to work in their heart, because I'm not getting through. And so I just have to shut my mouth sometimes, in that kind of situation where you can't actually reason and you can't actually talk through anything. You just have to go, okay. And you love your spouse where they're at, and you continue to be kind and loving and forgiving and stuff until they're ready to have that part of them healed. And then, God is working on them in the background. And so sometimes you just have to wait it out. That's something that, I think that a lot of newlyweds, I certainly went into it thinking that, well, I should go and tell him what's wrong with him because I can fix him, And so we really had to learn, like, you can't fix everything about other people. You got to let God talk to them behind the scenes sometimes. And that's kind of the grace that comes in showing love to each other, is that not everything is fixed the way you think it should be fixed right away all the time. Sometimes you just have to be patient and love them in spite of it. And now I'm seeing the fruit of a lot of those things I prayed for years. And my husband, that's what we laugh about, is that 40-year-old Skip is the man of my dreams. I only had to wait all these years.
Wow.
And now we have 40-year-old Skip, and who is everything that I ever wanted and more.
Wow. Pressure's on.
No.
Good, I'm done. I can punch my card.
No.
I don't have to communicate anymore. I'm everything you ever want.
No.
Ever want, you said.
No, I take it all back.
Take it all back. We'll communicate about that later.
Okay, well, have a wonderful week.
Yeah.
Let's hear some wonderful stories from you guys, the way that you step out and communicate, the things that you're doing that maybe this has
can I
got
add
your
one more thing
brain.
Before we go?
Yeah, but
I'm gonna add one more thing.
I was
going to
say maybe this got their wheels turning on something. So go ahead and let us know. Send us a message or put it on the Facebook page or whatever that, hey, after you talked about that, we were able to implement this.
Sometimes I feel like I'm just supposed to say this. So sometimes I feel like when you're going to communicate about bigger things, she's having a major issue, or she's majorly scared about a certain situation, or I am in the same place. I think that you have to give yourself permission not to be offended, not to have talking points when they're communicating. So I think before, when I was saying I ask myself questions, why, I think it's very important to sometimes, if Beth is being in a very vulnerable place and scared or something like that, to ask questions, but the question is not why. I don't want to say, why are you scared? Because then all of a sudden it's a defensive question. The question is how or what. How can I help you? What can I do to alleviate some of your fear right now?
Yeah, that's a helpful
Never
thing to
why.
say.
So when I'm talking to myself, I want to ask myself why, because I want to figure out why that's my button, why that button, it gets pushed easily. But when I'm talking with her in a situation where she's feeling extremely, stressed or scared or vulnerable or any of these other things you can put in there, the questions are always what or how. What can I do? How can I help? And then I think that you move away from talking points or arguing points. You're not trying to listen to what she's saying so you can say, well, that's not true because that's,
Right.
The driving example that we used earlier. I feel scared when you drive that way. Well, why do you feel scared? I've never gotten a ticket. I've never gotten, that's a why question. How can I help? What can I do to make you not feel scared when I'm driving? And then live with the answer. Well, I would feel better, more safe if you weren't weaving in and out of traffic. Okay. Simple. Now she feels safe and we're just driving in a straight line. How hard is that, And then go get groceries by yourself one day and weave in and out of traffic all you want.
I see your logic there.
All right. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. I think that's important. I think questions and communication are very important, but I think the why is for self-questioning and the how and what are for questioning when your significant other is communicating vulnerably. So.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
So thanks, guys, for joining in. We hope you have a wonderful, lovely, fantastic week communicating
we will
with
have
your spouse.
Marriage Week next week again.
Yep, it's still April
Still
coming
April.
up, so we're gonna have Marriage Month all month
Marriage
long.
Month, that's right.
Can we do our secret handshake to? That's not exactly what I had in mind.
So Marriage Month, so we'll have marriage next week.
Here's what I had in mind. Like he has an M for marriage, and I have an
Here's
M
my
for
M
month.
right here.
And we
Knuckle
clink to we,
sandwich.
like,
And we're on all the social media, so come find us on whatever. It's both our names, Beth Swiger, Skip Swiger, on everything, Twitter, Facebook.
yeah, Brett just asked if it's every Wednesday night. Yes, it is.
We have committed to
Brett
doing every
Kernick.
Wednesday night for the foreseeable future anyway. So if
Yeah.
that changes, because of life,
Yeah, we'll make an
circumstances,
announcement if it's
we'll let
not.
everybody know. But right now, we have been doing it every Wednesday for pretty much this year, right?
Oh, you have
Or
so
since
many videos
February.
that you could go back and watch, Brett.
Yeah.
There's hours and
Yeah,
hours and hours of
skipping
skipping.
back.
And then hours of nightmares.
So yes, we do post these for replay on the Family Faith and Flip Flops fan page on Facebook. It's a lot of F's every time I do that.
Friday. No.
We should do it on Fridays. That'd be awesome, Heather. Anyway,
Too
we
many
will
F
keep it on
words.
Wednesdays.
Too many F words.
You said the F word, but
You said like 6 F words.
okay. So we're
Ooh,
spiraling
I'm telling.
into rambling now. Love you guys.
You know how we do. Bye.
And we're still alive. We dropped the phone. See you next time.